All right. I think we're live, and Sam didn't push any wrong buttons, so life is good today. Oh man. See, it's funny how funny everybody was being just like moments before we start the hubcast. Everyone's having a good old time. And as soon as I hit live, it's like, gotta be quiet now.
Gotta be quiet. Yeah.
Well, yeah, exactly. Well, hey everyone, and thanks all I don't even know where my numbers are. All 28 of you that are kind of coming in. Oh, there's more coming in. So as we come in, and I know we had to reschedule this, and apologies, it was a technology issue. We made a button available to a very curious person that pushed it. So we had to reschedule. So yeah, Dave points Sam, and he's even an arrow to where Sam's sitting. It's great. Anyway, no worries. We got it, and we actually got some more folks to pop in for that. And we're going to be talking about Ghosts of Bin Laden, and it's kind of the reboot edition, which made me laugh when she put that, because literally it is. We had to reboot the whole system to do it. Oh goodness. So if you guys haven't hung out for a hubcast before, I always describe these people to the people that are going to come on. It's a really bad late night talk show on some B channel hidden way down in there, right? That nobody else would watch unless you can't sleep at like 3 a.m. But here we are, nonetheless. If it wasn't for my guests, I don't think anyone would ever watch this thing. I could just sit here and talk forever. But so I'm just kind of stalling and delaying time a little bit as people keep popping in here. I'm watching the attendee come up here. Oh, it looks like there is a hand raised already. Yeah, I don't know. Or the wavy maybe.
Worse than
anyway.
Yes.
All right. Anyway, if there was ever an excuse to drink at like 2:00 Eastern, now is the time. So just before you go through all this. So I'm gonna have you guys introduce yourselves a little bit and what you do there at Truxton and Probity. So go for it. Let's go with the big guy with the blue arrow pointing to him first.
That would be me. I am Sam Blackburn. Chief architect for Truxton. I'm basically responsible for everything you don't see in Truxton. So all the back-end processing, all of the media or the exploitation code, file format, reverse engineering, databasing. So everything that you don't see. Architecture. Yeah, and overall architecture. Yeah.
Awesome. So you're the geek behind it all, right? Is what you're saying to me. Geeks are our favorite people here. All right, next, sir.
I'm Dave Ryberg. I'm the director of sales for Truxton. I saw stuff.
So Sam had a much better intro than you did.
He's the Les Grossman of the group.
Yeah, the Les Grossman. The last time I made a description, I got somewhat harassed by, you asked a simple question to a sales guy, and I admittedly went on for 7 minutes, and they were all exhausted by the end of it. So we're here to listen to him today. He's the smart guy.
Yeah, this is geek stuff.
And what we'd like to do today is kind of just revisit the Bin Laden raid and the digital media that was seized during the raid. And it brings up some interesting topics and things like that Sam will kind of go through and take a look at. Very different in terms of the data set. And a couple of other weird things is CIA released the data set twice. So they put it out there and snatched it away.
So hold on a minute. And we're going to be showing both of those, right? At some point. Yeah. All right. Is this going to like get them to come down on us in any way? I got enough issues. Don't need the CIA coming after us, releasing other data sets.
There's an extra shadow on the wall behind you. I don't know what that is.
Okay, awesome. Yeah, but before we get into the real meat and potatoes of it, I promise I won't mess around too much. I'm just curious here where number one in chat here, and just to keep you guys, so you guys know, we're delayed by about 15 seconds. So this is future us speaking right now. But there's no magic button like in TV, like if you swear or do something, I can't just blurp you out. And let me see if Megan will jump on the mic here for just a second. Megan, is it my connection or is it their connection? Because they look really froze, or Sam looks like he's been like hanging out in the back cubicle way too long.
Everything looks okay on my end.
Okay, it must be my end then. All right, because Sam was like looking like he just was visiting the CBD shop for a while or something.
Thanks a lot, Joe.
So Megan's my voice behind the scenes there. So in case everybody was wondering what was happening.
And your professional cursor.
Yes, if we ever can't find any artistic words in the language of swear, we ask Megan. Absolutely. I would like to see in chat where everybody is from. I'm just curious. So again, this is future us talking. It takes about 15 seconds or so to, I think, get out to everybody. And it seems like my internet is a little on the funky side today. So it'd be interesting to see where everyone is from. And also, I have a poll here to pop up, and it's literally just one question: whether you are a member of Cyber Social Hub or not. And that should have popped up. Did that pop up for everyone? There should have been a poll. Hey, all right, good. It worked. It didn't pop up for me. So
the shameless huckstering feature is working correctly.
Awesome. So yeah, if they're not, then I got another one later on. I love this new software. It does all kinds of stuff. It's pretty cool. Yeah. So yeah. Yeah, so if you're not a member, I have an awesome offer for you today. It's free. It's actually always free, but you guys are welcome to come over and check out Cyber Social Hub. And it's just a community. It's an online community where we just filter out the noise. Now, I can't say, I used to say that we get rid of the cat memes, but I've seen some in there now, so we can't actually say that anymore. But it does pull away from some of the noise of LinkedIn, the other social networks that cover multiple topics. This is just for digital investigators, whether you're OSINT, cybersecurity, whatever. Even developers are welcome, Sam. And I know you're already in there. I see you lurking in there too. Those are our favorite kind of people, but we make fun a lot. So yeah, if you get a chance, come on in and over there, and I'm going to do one shameless thing here. If I can figure it out, it should. Oh no, we'll just do a slide out. I won't make it too obnoxious there. There we go. Down there at the bottom there. Isn't that cute? You can join now for free. Got the regular price of free crossed out, and it's free today. So yeah, it's special how we can do those things. It's been a week, guys, so I apologize. There's going to be a lot of bad jokes that only I get, and I'll find more than amusing. But all right, let's get to it. Let's talk. Dave, you were talking about, before I rudely cut you off, how the CIA released 2 copies of this data set.
Yeah, so basically during the raid, they grabbed a bunch of data, and it's about 183 pieces of media from 5 hard drives, maybe 100 USB drives, and a few phones. And originally it was 174 gigs of videos and about 7.4 of image files and maybe 18 gigs of docs. Altogether, 470,000 files. So what happened is in mid or late October, the CIA released the initial batch that just the general public could download. There really wasn't much reason other than transparency to do it. And then it was probably 2 days later that it just disappeared, went away. And for some people that stay awake at night and do other things, when they saw something of interest like that, they went ahead and downloaded it.
All right. Took a long time.
Big data set.
How big was the total data set again?
The zip file from October was 315 gigs, one zip file. And it expanded out to 367 gig in 184 folders and 467,000 files. So what they did was they flattened every piece of media into a single folder. And I'll show that in a little bit when we take a little tour of the data that you have to deal with.
Mm-hmm. Okay, well that's kind of crazy. Well, where did who originally obtained the data, right? I guess is the question. You guys had some, and again, I'm cheating. I'm looking at some information that you guys sent me because I really have no idea who got it. It came from Operation Neptune Spear. Is that right?
Yeah. So Neptune Spear was just the operation that ended up killing Bin Laden. So May 1st in 2011, SEAL Team 6. So we've all seen the movies, the stories about that. Only other kind of interesting things that popped up maybe 10 years later, a couple of the other things that they used to just kind of verify whether it was really the Bin Laden compound. Was that where he was at? And a little bit of that was really kind of pattern of life things. So it turns out that compound the land was purchased specifically for that purpose. The compound was built and designed by an architect specifically to house Bin Laden and to hide him. So when you look at the stuff in terms of who built it and what was around it, there's a balcony patio, with 6 foot walls. There's 3 people living there, but yet they have enough livestock and those sorts of things to feed a dozen people for weeks. No one comes in, no one comes out. And just a little pattern of life details like hanging women's clothing and diapers and those sorts of things on the clotheslines. It just made it kind of obvious that something not normal was going on there.
Mm-hmm.
And then for the price of that land and for the price of that compound, no technology. No satellite dish, no internet connection, nothing. So very purposeful in that regard. And we'll see in the timeline a little bit of some of that pattern of life and what we call pattern of death.
Yeah, in this case.
Turns out that a lot of stuff happened after Bin Laden died. So we'll dig into a little bit of that as well.
Yeah, that's the. Whoa, I'm getting some echo here in my ears. Hang on a second here. Let me make an adjustment. All right, there we go. Anyway, hopefully you guys can't hear that echo like I can. I'll just work through it and take these headphones off for the moment. But yeah, I think that's what everyone's interested in is that title. Granted, it may have been a little clickbaity, but it's very true, right? I mean, it's like, how does evidence start appearing in your data sets after either, number one, you've taken control of it, or the suspect is no longer around. So that's definitely interesting to see what happened here. And we'll talk about it. And Sam, you were going to talk about a little bit about the non-conventional file structure and folder structure of this data set that you have. Can you elaborate that a little bit more and maybe explain what you consider a flat file is?
Oh, sure. So if you download, you can still download the data today. It's still out there. So when you download it, what you're going to get is the redacted version, where they took about 60 gigs of data out of it, and that's only a 271 gigabyte zip file. And one of the things we really love this data set because we've worked with a lot of other vendors and on their tools and stuff, and they're like, "Hey, can you give us a sample of data?" And you're like, "You bet." And so we'll drop a 270 gig zip file on them, and it destroys everything. Just unzipping it. We worked with one cloud vendor that after a day and a half, they stopped trying to unzip it. And that's when people learned about this little thing in the cloud called latency. It's so
yes,
you've
gamers know about that.
Yeah, it's a great data set to introduce people who aren't familiar with forensics and the problems that forensic people have, other than the obvious that you can see, and is dealing with big data, right? And so when the government released this, what they did was they created a folder for every piece of media, and then all the files that came from that piece of media, like hard drive image or thumb drive or whatever, they renamed the file so the MD5 hash of the contents was the beginning of the file, and then an underscore, and then the original file name.
Okay.
So, and now you have however many thousands of files that came off that piece of media sitting in one folder. So all folder structure is gone. All hierarchy is gone, right? So if you have a tool, luckily Truxton doesn't care about hierarchy and stuff. So we can go through it pretty well. But if you have a tool that depends on saying, oh, go to system 32 and pull these registry files, it's like, yeah, it ain't gonna work. There's not a system 32. And so you are literally left with an enormous file pile to deal with.
And that's a nightmare for any examiner to have to go through. And then really, looking at a extremely non-conventional, what we call quote unquote forensic data set, right? It's more of just a raw file dump. Got to be a little challenging to go through that. Where do you start in something like that? Like if you get this massive dump, where did you personally start?
So the first thing we did was unzip it on SSDs, and that takes a while. Just doing a directory listing takes forever. But once we got it unzipped, then we started looking at the folder structure. The first thing we did was we loaded it as a single folder, and that was just a nightmare. And so the more we looked at it, the more we realized, oh, these 5 folders have registry files in them. Those were probably a hard drive, right? Registries don't exist on thumb drives unless you're a forensicator passing data around. So we started breaking it out and loading each one separately. And then the data started making more sense then. And eventually, to automate all this, we created what we call a load list, which is just a file with all the file names to load. And whenever we want to reload this data, we just load that one file, and Truxton kicks off however many processes to chew through the data. So
very cool. So one of the key things that you had mentioned in here was a little bit of the timeline, and I don't want to get too far ahead because I know that's kind of the juicy part of stuff in there, but we definitely want to get to that. But let's talk a little bit about and Dave, obviously we had talked prior to even the first scheduled Hubcast, which yes, I'm going to keep bringing that up, is that in some of the things that they use to identify, say, they knew the data set was there from that complex, right? Can you kind of explain what some of those items were and how they were able to do that? It's pictures of chickens, right? Or something like that.
Yeah. So basically there was a bunch of videos and a bunch of images, and what Truxton can do is it can automatically tag documents and things like that to do that. And once we bring it into Truxton, the other thing that we can do is we can go through what we call a coordinated review. So several participants can look at that giant collection of videos and go through there. And what we were trying to do was identify what we thought was video or pictures that was actually taken by bin Laden himself. So the way that we did that is we kind of reviewed the videos and said, hey, he's not in this, so maybe he's the one that is actually doing the videoing or the taking the pictures. And then from that, we identified whether it was a Sony.
Yeah, we started on one hard drive, we started seeing a Sony device being plugged in a lot. And so then it was like, oh, what's that? Because the vid and the PID didn't show up in a search. And then we started noticing these, they're gray videos because inside the compound wasn't very colorful. And of course, pulled up a hex view because that's what we do in forensics. And saw that it was Sony had written some metadata in these videos. And we had seen Sony in some JPEG images that were kind of the same thing. So we found the metadata, we reverse engineered the metadata, reloaded, and found a bunch of videos from that same camera. So it's a little Sony handheld camera that he had that he was using to do the selfies, the talking head selfies videos. So we were able to say, okay, everything that came off that camera, we're going to assume came from inside the compound. So we tagged all those videos with compound.
And then as we look through the other media that was there, it's kind of interesting because when this stuff was released, this has been out for 10 years now. Everybody's kind of familiar with everything that happened, what were the videos and that sort of stuff. But when we were capable of just tagging these into different categories, so there's everything from compound life, surveillance sort of thing, funny, educational, everything from knitting to just all sorts of weird stuff. And as you go through,
wait, I gotta ask. Said knitting?
Oh yeah,
he's a big knitter.
What are you gonna do sitting in a compound all day, man? We'll show you what he was watching.
That's funny. Hey, somebody just asked if you guys can post a link to the files.
Yes, we can.
Okay. Yeah.
Actually, Kevin, it's the last page, the second to last page of the PowerPoint that you got.
Oh, hang on.
Yeah, we give you the source to everything.
Yeah.
And there's a National Geographic program about the raid, which is pretty good. Or Bin Laden's hard drive, I think they call it.
Yeah.
I don't see them in this deck that I got. I got these from Megan. Can you resend those in Slack again? Because I think you deleted the last send that you sent.
Yeah.
If you don't mind, send those over. Yeah, I'll post it.
Look at Bob.
Bob did. Hey, Bob is here.
Okay.
Hello,
and then
if
you go to dni.gov and just look up Bin Laden's bookshelf, that pretty much has everything. So that's a little bit of a broader collection of releases than the actual CIA release that we'll be talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And then the last one is a National Geo special called Bin Laden's Hard Drive. And that's about 40 minutes long. You can watch it for free on YouTube or Netflix, any of those. You can get that. But there's two interesting parts of that is that they have two ladies that were involved. One was a translation expert, and the other one was a Muslim religious scholar. And they go into a lot of detail about the documents. So today we're just talking about digital media that was seized. Piles and piles and piles of typewritten letters, hand correspondence, and that's fascinating stuff too. Interesting thing about those is that a lot of those were believed to be written and or edited by his wives that were there at the compound with him. So pretty fascinating on that. And then the other lady, the religious expert, had some really good insight in terms of Bin Laden's credibility as a religious scholar, as a religious leader, et cetera, et cetera. It was a unique perspective from a Muslim lady who, she made one interesting comment that was, after September 11th, the next day when I walked down the street, that was the first time that I ever wondered if everybody else that was looking at me thought I was a Muslim and if that mattered. So some interesting insights. About 40 minutes long. There's probably 10 or 15 minutes of it that's interesting and good and different.
Well, very cool. Yeah, I will definitely. I'm going to post those links. Megan just sent me the actual real one opposed to the one I had. It looks like the links were stripped out of the one I had. So I'll be sure to post it. I know Bob already posted some in there. So if you're looking in chat, Bob Osgood posted the links in there if you guys want them. But how long of a download did you say that was?
271 gigs.
Yeah, that's
just a file. Then you get to look forward to unzip
it. God forbid if your internet fails midway through. Damn it.
Like I remember when I downloaded the October one, it popped up on late night news or something, and I was like, no way. And then Googled it, found it. I'm like, oh, cool. So I clicked download and went to bed. Still going next morning. Man.
Holy cow. Yep. And we know we're safe downloading anything from the CIA's website, so it's all good. Right? Everybody's like, yeah. And everybody who's already downloading goes, shit. That's great. All right. Hey, I want to see a little bit of some of the stuff that you guys found
Okay.
in there.
I'll
If
start
you don't mind sharing your screen out, I think that's what Kevin Lowe. Hey, Kevin, I see you in there now. He's like, uh-oh.
Yeah. All right, this is the folder. So this is the file that you'll download, right? And then this is what the folder structure looks like. So here's,
Oh, man.
yeah, a lot to go on there, huh?
Yeah. That's crap, really. But
And this is what you get. This is what the data looks like.
so literally just with files within folders, and that's it.
Every file that came from this media is in this one folder. So there's no more there's no subfolders of this.
Okay.
Anyway.
So what you're thinking, again, to repeat what you said, each folder that is in that you think is a specific piece of media then, right?
Yeah, we think it's a piece of media.
Okay. And however it was identified.
And I have no idea what these numbers mean.
Scheme they were looking at. Yeah, that is a little bit bizarre. Who knows?
Yeah, we were able to suss out that it looks like it's a 4-digit field and then a 2-digit field followed by a 3-digit field. Because when you scroll through it, you can see, the middle 2 digits don't change very much, right?
Mm-hmm.
But your guess is as good as mine as how it's organized.
And you'll be able to see that when you load the media into Truxton. So if you kind of go into the media management page there.
So this is where we loaded that media, and we broke each folder up into a separate piece of media.
Okay, yeah, that's nice.
And like here we say this is a disk image because it had registry files in it and nobody else did. So we're like, that's probably a hard drive. And then let's go.
Okay.
This is one of the hard drives. We went ahead and put the latitude and longitude in there, and the military grid reference system for all those people who look up to the Air Force. We put that in there. Here's all here's the entities that we were able to pull out of this one. The interesting thing about this is here's this HP account that logged on 395 times. So pretty sure that that's Bin Laden's account. And if you ever wondered what his password was, what's that? All you geeks out there should post what his password was in chat.
Oh, there's a challenge, huh?
Yeah.
There you go.
See how geeky your viewers are. And here's the USB devices we're able to find, in that folder. And here's you can see the source, like the software registry was renamed to that. And here's that Sony that we saw. Kind of odd. Got plugged in as letter H.
Okay. So it gave it a drive letter when it got plugged in, huh?
Yeah. And then other stuff is in there. So Kingston Data Traveler. Saw that a bunch. These are actually entries in what's it called? Automatic destination. Yeah. So if you want to see what was in there, like documents were on there, all kinds of mess.
Okay. And looks like you're displaying Arabic pretty well in there too, huh?
Yeah, we break up Arabic. These are actually, for all you link people out there, these are actually Unicode strings in there. Truxton has a bit of a problem. Like if you look at this nasty full path, that's actually written in 8-bit pseudo ASCII, but nowhere in the file does it tell us what the code page is to convert. So we don't get a good convert. But luckily they store the Unicode in there. And if you want to know what these little squigglies mean, you can hover over them, and we'll transliterate it for you.
Yeah,
so you can try to make the same sounds as Arabic. I have no idea what it means.
Like I can barely order off menu at McDonald's, much less try to pronounce some of this stuff and read it here.
Let's see. So that was the summary report. Let's go back. Here we're looking at all 181 pieces of media that was released in November as one investigation.
Okay.
So, so instead of trying to drill down to and understand one piece of media at a time. We just look at it as a whole.
Yeah, just bucket it together.
Okay, hold on. I'm seeing a lot of anime here.
Yes,
So-
these are all this is this is all the unique videos that were found in 181 pieces of media. And we found an interesting way to sort videos is by entropy. So entropy is a number between 1 and 8, the floating point number, that tells you how much information is in a file. So the closer you get to 8, the more information is in there, and videos are very, very compressed. So they have a very high entropy. So here's the videos that he was watching. And remember, he didn't have internet, so these had to come in somehow.
Huh. I'm really hoping these were for the kids in there. Maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, most of the other ones were redacted.
Oh yeah, and I guess that's really the big question here, right? And I missed it altogether. Is the title of it is Ghosts of Bin Laden. How did you guys know the knitting? I'm sorry, I got totally distracted when I seen the knitting videos.
Knit 1, Pearl 2, infidel.
What was the guy's name? The painter? Oh my gosh, why can't I remember this guy with the big hair in the 70s when
Bob
Ross.
Yes. Okay. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't do any comparisons right now. I'll just sit here and be quiet. It's probably better. How did you know the data set switched, Sam? At what point did you realize that, hey, wait a minute, they re-released this and they cut a bunch of stuff out? And what did they cut out, and how did you know exactly what they cut out?
Okay. So what we did was we loaded the November release and did a full load on it. And then what we did was when the load's completed, we made a hash set out of it. Okay. So now we have the hash of every file that was present in the November release.
Okay.
We then loaded the October release and said, okay, eliminate every file that's already in the November release. So now what we're left with is, which is called a delta, or an intersection of the two.
Okay.
So now on this 1021 release, we can see there's a lot less documents. Like you don't see much Chinese anymore or anything else. Number of files is different. The artifact list is different. So it's these all came from like who C Grackle is. So all these RTF files were deleted from the November release. Does that make sense?
Yep. What are these files? I guess is my question. Type of
It looks like because the Intel license agreement. I don't know what this is from.
The government basically said the reason they took it down and re-released it was to remove copyrighted information and some malware. So they did a few things like that. The other thing that they did is they converted all the Word documents to PDFs. And the reasoning behind that was so that more people could view them. So you could use it using a free Acrobat reader rather than having to have a Word software installed on your computer. So that's arguably what the reason was why there's two different releases. But when you get the Delta load, what you can do is just quickly see this is just the information that they chose to redact. So some of it makes sense. The other stuff, if you fish around in there, you can actually do that and look at yourself and see here's exactly what they took out. And I think the area that you're going to see a lot of differences there is in a lot of the authors and some of the names. So the metadata for a Word file before they converted it to PDF was much richer in terms of what it contained. So the process of going from a Word doc to a PDF doc really reduced and eliminated a lot of information that was originally there. But you kind of get an idea of what the government thought was the most sensitive stuff. Oops, these are the things that we were concerned that we made a mistake about. So that's really the difference in a delta load. And if you think about a delta load, how does that apply in forensics, right? So if you worked at a command post, or if you were a private corporation sending people all around the world, well, generally speaking, what you do is you take a forensic image of the laptop before they leave. They go to visit Hong Kong or something like that, and they come back, and the question everybody really wants to know, whether it be military, commercial, law enforcement, or whatever, how is this computer different now that it's come back from when it originally left?
Mm-hmm.
That file's been added, has malware, what programs were added, what programs were removed, when were programs launched, those sorts of things. So that's how we can use a delta load to apply in forensics to just get the difference. And that's also an interesting concept when you think about VMs. So if you were to boot up a VM in the cloud, right, then you're starting from scratch. If you take an image from that, and then you just you take advantage of the snapshot, I think is what they call it in AWS maybe. But if I have 1,000 VMs out there and I take the original image, and then every 30 days I take another snapshot and just get the deltas, then think about that, how much time they would save 18 months down the road if they had to do a forensic investigation. You're only dealing with this much stuff rather than from the very beginning of that computer's life or that VM's life. Pretty interesting stuff there. Thanks, Sam.
It is.
All right, so what I'm showing now is the timeline, right, to try and get a idea of the pattern of life. So we put down a analyst highlight here. This is when Osama assumed room temperature. So everything to the left of this flag is going to be pattern of life, and everything to the right is going to be pattern of death. So down here at the bottom, you can see this is all of the activities.
So the little dots, just to be clear for everyone, obviously, I have a little
so
advantage. I know what these mean, but for everyone else who's not seen your software before, what do these dots represent? What are they?
So here's an event, like took a photo, opened a file, that kind of thing. And so you can see how this one is purple. This one is pink. And this, you see the lighter gray window here. This means that this upper level here with all the details makes up that shaded region.
Gotcha.
Okay? And that is the day of the month on that band. At the bottom band is month of the year, and you see that tiny little sliver, baby. All the viewers are like squinting right now.
Yeah, that's what I'm.
Yeah, I tried to use magnifier earlier, and it did really bad things on remote desktop.
The idea here is that if you see a density of dots there
was
in the year, there's a lot of activity. So if you go on the year and move to the left, you can see when he got to the Bad compound.
Yeah.
Right.
So you can see not a whole lot of activity in 2010 on these things. August looks like he probably stopped and set up shop somewhere. Probably traveling in amongst here.
Yeah.
A lot of activity in Feb.
So what we want to do is give you a quick way to scroll back and forth by year, date, and month to quickly do that. And if you always look at that center line that goes up and down the screen, you can see that where the light white highlight is, right there, is the area that you're magnifying.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, this makes it really easy. You can sure see really quickly some activities and breaks of activities as well.
Yeah. So here's where it gets fun. So in May, scroll May into view. So here's where the raid happened. We think about 1 in the morning, 12:30, something like that. But if you'll notice down here, there's a whole bunch of activity later that month, and then in mid-June, mid to late June. So these, well, let's click on one. So if you click on it, we'll tell you where it came from. All right, ran a real play, file information, and it came out of a prefetch file. So there's prefetch files in the data that was given out, and there's so real player. It wasn't very up to speed on it.
Well, you know,
not all of us can be because you're not connected to the internet.
Hard to hit update to the latest version.
Yeah. So what we can assume from this is that the guys in the fancy helicopters, when they brought the data back to wherever they were, they booted it up to take a look at what was going on. Because here you can see they opened up a file.
Oh no.
But yeah. Those memory swap files. Yeah.
So programs executed. It's like, as a forensic examiner, it's like, why we don't send the detectives in to look through evidence ahead of time. Just please let us come in and collect it the way it needs done.
I've seen a lot of forensic people you really don't want to give a gun to.
Yeah. Cringe.
It's tradecraft. Tradecraft.
So it looks like.
Are we assuming they were just analysts probably looking through this and not really caring about the forensic process, or they just wanted the info? They didn't care about destroying it.
I was in the military a long time ago, and it was probably everybody was so excited to get their hands on the data, they want to see it right now. So that's probably what they did. Was like, well, this is the one by the bed, so let's boot that one. But as you can see.
So you're saying no ghosts at all? No ghosts did it. It was
no.
an analyst or some type of examiner that was running this data set and really contaminating at least the set that we have here, right?
Yeah. So this is only the files that have been released to us. Here we can see on May 7th, he ran another program. And then they installed an Alcor USB hub and a flash card reader. And, well, they like to play Army Men.
Is that a game? Is Army Men a game?
Yep.
Oh, wait a minute. So someone executed it and oh my gosh, House dead. You're kidding me, right? That's a joke?
No.
Billgate.exe.
That is totally not malware.
somebody ran it and went, oops.
Yeah, they plugged in that Sony Handycam
memory stick.
Yep.
There you go.
Goodness.
Yeah, and this is now 13 May. All right.
Wow.
And then they were kind enough to shut it down again.
That was nice of them. At least they did a proper shutdown and didn't worry about.
And then 14 May to do it again.
So it's like they put in like a document scanner and like a presentation thing.
Yeah.
All sorts of wild stuff. Right?
So what was probably the most interesting piece that you found, in your opinion? Maybe you have different thoughts on this. What did you find in here that was maybe interesting to you personally?
To me personally, was the activity in December and January of that year. Because it's like, wait, what? So in mid-May, it kind of goes quiet on the media, and then in December, here we go. We got more stuff going on. They plugged in another USB, ran some more programs. Started deleting videos.
Man, you're kidding me.
Nope.
In the recycle bin, no less.
Yes. Yeah, they left the info 2 files.
Like that really deletes it.
Yeah.
Oh man. See, my kids know better than that even.
Yeah. They plugged in a Western Digital.
Oh goodness.
Folder 01.exe. Well, folder 01 space.exe, totally not malware. Yeah, it's just kind of crazy. So we can filter this. Let's just do recycle. So now we're just going to look at the file recycle events. And you can see all of these videos are now being recycled. DocX.
Well, yeah, I mean, I'm assuming now. I have no idea, honestly, why you would ever do this. So I'm just going to guess because I can. I'm assuming it's some maybe sensitive of nature, and then I don't know.
I had no idea.
Why would they want to destroy or throw stuff in the recycle bin of the media they're even looking at?
Yes, Muhammad. DocX. I don't know. Ours as forensicators is not the reason why.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I wouldn't. What would you do with this stuff except just try to, I guess, analyze the pieces as much as you can with it.
Yeah.
If you get it this contaminated, you're like, yeah, what do you do?
Yeah. So, here's how you download stuff from YouTube.
Oh, there you go.
Comes down as a FLV apparently.
Yeah, just depends on the software that you might use in order to pull that down, right? Which may have been the Bill Gates .exe file, right? That one did it for sure. Hey, also while we're sitting here yapping, guys, I'm seeing the time. If you guys start to have questions or you want to see something specifically or want to know something about this data set, please ask in either chat or QA. I'll try to keep my eye on all these. I realized I hadn't been watching some of the QA too much, but there's nothing there. So yeah, and people mostly posting in chat. So if there's anything that you want to see with the data set or have a question maybe about Truxtun itself, please ask, and these guys are happy to answer these questions for you. Now with
media.
Yeah, for me, the most
this?
interesting files were videos. So there was 2 videos of interest in terms of just kind of like reconnaissance.
Now, hang on. Your videos are moving on for me, right? Is that a pretty standard thing?
Yeah, what we do is we make what we call a contact sheet out of a video.
Look at that.
And we take one frame every 1% through the video. So that way you can just hover over it, glance at it, and tell, okay, it's anime the whole way.
Oh, so you'll know if like someone put like 5 minutes of anime in the beginning and then actual real something they wanted to hide in the middle and then at the end. So you guys will get a frame by frame quick of it, so you can see that. That's very cool. We used to make poor interns watch. Here, watch this whole thing.
Yeah. It's all about trying to get to what matters quicker, right?
Yeah.
For some reason, you like this lady who's quite the dancer. So a lot of these videos floating around.
Really, that's just weird to see some of this stuff. I mean, I don't know. I guess I wouldn't know what to expect, really, out of this type of data. I mean, I was a local cop and then attached to federal task forces, and we never had to deal with any of this stuff. So it's definitely interesting. What is this?
Yeah. Oh, stupid infidel!
Oh man. Yeah. Oh, that looks like he's down for the count even too. That's crazy.
This is one of the videos from the compound.
The mountain one there. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's like he's checking out. It looks like he was on his balcony and he's checking out the ridge line and all this kind of mess.
Did he see a scope reflection up there or something? Like, what's over there?
Yeah. How paranoid must he have been?
Kevin, the video of the tube, Kevin Lowe was saying that's in Toronto. That's funny. And he had it right on his hard drive. That's crazy to me. So this is from the compound here. He's just filming the sun. Yeah.
I can show you all those videos from inside.
The bird's pretty good too.
Oh yeah. So he did. he watched this video about this bird,
Yeah.
and we're like, what? And the only thing that we thought was, it's like, the bird never flaps its wings.
I
So,
have no idea what that might be.
I have no idea.
Avianus dronius.
That's weird. Is that a propeller on the beak? That's so weird.
But yeah, so apparently he's trying to get a better look at this thing.
So it kind of shows that he was very aware of the walls kind of closing in, so to speak.
Yeah. Yeah.
So a
No
lot
kidding.
of videos like this, and once you categorize them, so it's compound life. There's other things, raising chickens and all sorts of stuff like that.
Well, man,
And
that
I
is
think the one file in there, and I don't know if we have it tagged or whatever, but the file in there that was of real forensic value there was a wedding video of one of his sons.
Yeah, I have not been able to find
And
that.
they never had a picture of him, but from that video they were able to do the facial recognition and get him. And then he was targeted several years later and killed in an airstrike. So
right on.
a lot of chickens, a lot of cows,
A lot of chickens.
Little kid with a BB gun.
Yeah,
This is just like a Christmas Story.
Yeah, this video here is him shooting a rat. So, but here you can see that's one of his selfie videos that he took.
Yeah.
And it came from that Sony Handycam. So here's another one. I think there's a screen test in here too.
Mm-hmm.
Wow, that's crazy. So there's a lot of insight. Obviously, if you grab this data set and take a look at it into kind of his life in hiding.
Mm-hmm.
It's fascinating to me. It's very cool. So, Dave, you found the videos interesting. I find these compound ones kind of fascinating to see what it was. And there's that documentary, which I was going to pull this. Let me see if I can pull this. Yeah, see, I don't have the links in these. Let me go grab the other one real quick. I promised to post some links here, and I did not as of yet. And it might be the fact that.
And I know that the forensics folks of the world will love this one, but Bin Laden did it too. He created a password.txt, and he put his password in.
No kidding.
Yeah.
What was it? Can you zoom in on that? Can you make that bigger? I can't see it. It's
called Al Muslim 123.
Oh, jeez. He did the 1, 2, 3 at the end of it.
Yeah, buddy.
Oh man.
Yep.
All right. That was
one of the things that we did in Truxton is we have this concept of a one-liner file.
Yeah.
So that's what we did. Is it's like, if somebody encrypts something, they're gonna be really darn sure they don't forget that password, and so they'll make another file somewhere. So we're like, yeah, one-liner files. Show me that.
I'm kidding.
Whether they were created, 5 minutes before or after?
Yeah. We haven't made that push button yet, but you can do a search.
That's kind of cool.
Yeah. Oh, that was another thing. The file timestamps have been stomped, so you can't do anything with the MAC time on these files.
Oh, really? So, are you guys thinking now? Again, this is me completely guessing that this was like just a dump from an analyst or something like that, not the actual forensic side of things.
No idea.
Yeah.
It's just what the government released.
I just find it hard. I'm hoping. I guess there's a part of me that's really hoping that these aren't the actual evidence files.
Well,
or,
Well, riddle me this. How do you boot it?
Yeah, very true. There's no way it's not happening.
Because we've got shutdown events.
Yeah.
So.
Yep. So it had to have been just like some type of software that would dump all the files out into. Yeah. Anyway, interesting. Now I noticed real quick here that you're seeing, your languages that you're hovering over.
Yeah.
How do you guys handle those? I'm curious here.
one of our ETL processes, our exploiters, looks at all of the text, and we will extract text out of the file, and if it finds Arabic, it'll just tag the file as Arabic. So we tag Arabic, Chinese, Korean, Russian.
Not Pig Latin. Do you have a Pig Latin?
Persian. We do Persian.
Oh, right on.
So we do that. Yeah, we try and nudge the analyst along like hidden data, right?
Yeah.
That's usually data that's been appended to other data. Yeah, so here we have data appended to a JPEG, right?
Yeah, and there's correspondence in the handwritten documents where he's telling people to specifically say, okay, if you're going to send this as a video, change the file extension to something else. So he was very concerned in knowing that they're going to be passing around USBs, only communicating at internet cafes and things like that. So we're not a very smart computer guy. He at least knew the things that sort of mattered in terms of trying to send somebody down the wrong alley, so to speak.
Yeah, so this is like a browser cache file that appended something to the end. I don't know. Or it was an image tag that contains a script that they were going to. I have no clue.
Yeah, that's one thing that we kind of do differently than most other forensic software. When you load media into Truxton, you're putting it in a single repository. So all of your casework goes into one place. And what that can do is, you can end up with a repository of hundreds of thousands of pieces of media. Yeah. So the ability to, be able to handle that, filter it, query it, so you could just get to what you want is one thing. But if you go back to the media homepage there, media management. So all these tags are automatically done before a human is ever involved. So basically what happens is everything's loaded. Truxton is automatically going to tag these languages, hidden data, geographic information, sensitive site violations, if you set a geofence in there and things like that. And then that way, before you ever bucket something together in an investigation, you can sort of triage it here. And if you're not triaging for analytical purposes, oftentimes what you're doing is you're triaging for workload. So if my goal at some agency is to say, well, give me all the Chinese stuff. Well, now I have an effective way of just going through and saying, here's all the Chinese stuff. I'm going to send it to a Chinese linguist. So here's all the crypto keys. So when you're dealing with big data and tons of pieces of media from different sources, to have a way to quickly identify that stuff and pass it on to the right department or the right subject matter expert, that's a big deal, because there's so much data in every case in any instance nowadays. How do you deliver that 20% that matters as fast as possible? Just trying to give you ways to automatically do that.
Right, and that's important with these massive sets, especially with one like this. Oh my goodness, I would take him forever to get through that, for sure. Makes it a heck of a lot easier. So I'm looking for questions. No one has any right now, which is I don't know if a good thing or a bad thing. It's still absorbing the massive amounts of data here. So if anyone has a question, by all means, please ask. Happy to pass it along, and these guys can answer it. Also, if you're interested in Truxton software here, these guys will be able to help you out. Dave, how do they get a hold of you specifically, or Sam, if they have some questions?
You can reach me, sales@truxtonforensics.com. If you want to put in a request for a free 30-day demo, you can just visit truxtonforensics.com. And there's a button there that says download demo, and that'll bring up a form that'll allow you to enter your name, address, your details, and then we'll send you a free 30-day trial license of Truxton. And we just released 4.0, which has that fancy language identification. It's about 4 times faster than the previous versions, and has some really cool new UI features. Coolest one is probably notifications. And notifications allows you, within the UI, if I'm loading a piece of media that's going to take 7 or 8 hours, you're always watching the pot of water to see if it's boiling yet. What notifications will do, it will tell you, hey, media number 3 of 17 is now finished loading. So it gives you a constant awareness that you can send via text or Slack or Microsoft Teams. It'll give you an idea of the progress of a multiple media load automatically. And then the coolest thing is that once all of the media, once that piece of media is loaded, you can automatically send you 3 reports. Sam can show you if you go up to current investigation there. You're going to get the media summary report. So that you just click on a piece of media there on that list. And then go to the media reports.
I'm going to pop up a survey here real quick because I want to be cognizant of everyone's time here while you guys are showing this. And you guys had a lot of input on this this thing that I'm about to post here. So this here is is just a survey for digital forensic. It's just all general questions for us. And I know, Dave, you had sent and submitted some, and I know Sam had submitted some, and some of our other partners have submitted some too, just to get a feel of the industry and where the industry is going. So if you guys take a few minutes, it's like 28 questions or something like that. Just fill them out real quick. We'd really appreciate it. Okay, go ahead.
Yeah, so basically what you're going to get automatically emailed to you is a media summary report, artifacts report, and a consolidated contacts report. So again, that's 3 things. All you did was load the media in there, and without a human involved, you're going to get a head start on whatever piece of media that you just loaded. Huh. So kind of automate, because no one has infinite amount of time. No one has the money to get more people or get more training. So no one ever says, I have enough people, I have enough time, I have enough money. If the answer to all 3 of those questions is no, then your only hope in getting through this is really automation. So how can you get there fast? How can you get a head start? How can you deal with the important stuff first? And that's not to say just do a scan of particular items. We still allow you to get down to the hex on everything that we ingest.
And this is just kind of that high level, hey, this could be the quick information that you need to quickly get some more information or move on to the next case or draw up paperwork to serve a search warrant or get the intel that you need. I mean, whatever. It could be just right here before you even have to do any more analysis, which is really nice.
And then the other thing that we did is, Truxton is a service that runs in Windows 10 behind the scenes. So Truxton doesn't need to be running, and we can execute a little tool that we have called load.exe. And what that means is once Truxton's installed on your computer, you can just highlight an EO1 file or a mobile file image or even a logical file, right-click on it, and load it into Truxton. So in terms of if you want to kick off the automation process fast, get automated delivery of stuff, how much forensic training is required to do this? So at least you have an idea of where to start.
Right. Yeah, that would make life a lot easier for a lot of folks just to kind of toss it right in there that way through the.
It took us. We've got a what do you call it? EDAS Fox box, which a lot of folks have. Forensic workstation, and it took about 3 hours. I think it was just under 3 hours to load one of these guys, the 183 pieces of media.
Pretty fast.
So we go pretty quick.
Very good. Well, guys, hey, I appreciate it taking your time out today and showing us this awesome data set. I'm wondering how many people are actually going to go download this thing now. Probably most of everyone.
Keep an eye out on the hub.
Yeah, and Sam and Dave are both in Cyber Social Hub too, which you could go in and message them directly in the hub. If you're not, just go register. It's free. We don't send too much spam, I promise. Just information about Hubcast, things like that. Essentially, just stuff that can. Kevin's downloading it now. Right on.
Time.
See how long it takes. That'd be interesting to see some of the stuff that people find, and maybe we should just kind of call out like, hey,
that would be a fun thing.
do the most creative thing that you can find in that data set, post it out on the hub, and just use like a hashtag Truxton or something like that in there.
That'd be good.
Just to kind of to know that, hey, you were here, you saw it, and you dug through this data set. That'd be kind of neat.
Or you could have one of those little achievement tags for "I downloaded Bin Laden."
We'll send you. We'll make a new sticker. How's that? You get a laptop sticker for it, which we still do have some stickers left. If you guys haven't seen yet, I've completely forgot about this. So let me get rid of this, and I'm going to switch back to the camera's view. My camera's view is all jacked up and wonky. Yeah. Anyway, I don't know if you guys can see this really well. Hold on. Let me go back to turn my camera off here a second and back on. I don't know. Megan, is it still appearing like something's displaying on the main, like a share is happening out there? Again, Megan's my help behind the scenes here. What's happening? Even though I don't see anything being shared.
It doesn't look like it, but I'm still in admin view. Let me go creep on non-admin view.
Oh, yeah. But anyway, we got some cool new and Dave, you saw these. People were actually playing quarters with these at the last conference we were at.
To the other side.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So this is our new business card here, and we'll give these things away too. We got a new version coming out just for Hub members here. And we have some really cool stuff planned for these. As you take different pieces of training, you get some of these things, which is going to be very cool. But the other side is Cartoon Me on there. So
there's no abrasions on that particular rendering.
No, there's no scar here from a scooter crash. And then Megan's is here. I don't know how well you can see these. I got my studio lights on, kind of washing everything out a little bit. So yeah, very fun stuff. It's a fun business card, and we just got those in time for the last Techno Security we're at, which is in Denver. Beginning of the month, where I had a little scooter incident, kind of threw me off.
Oh, I see. Bob Osgood downloaded the file.
Yeah.
All we got was a zip file. Yeah. Okay, Bob, right button on the zip and say extract all.
No, that was just this idea for a new T-shirt.
Oh, was it?
Yeah. I got a stupid shirt.
Dave, I'm glad you caught on that. That's great. That's a better version of it. I downloaded the Bin Laden. Yeah, that's great. Dave is fluent in sarcasm. Who would know better than Megan, right? Oh, that's great. That's great. All right. Oh, wait. There's some maybe. Oh, nope. Okay. Yeah, I have no idea why the thing is showing this way. So maybe if I go to like sharing a screen here real quick. Hold on. I'm going to try to pop it out of this mode. And I'm just going to literally, you guys will see the back end of this thing for a second. And then I'm going to stop screen sharing, and hopefully it pops back. That's the view that we see, by the way, if you guys were ever wondering. Nope, it's stuck in this mode. But anyway, that's it. So again, if you guys have any questions or haven't joined the hub yet, pop into Cyber Social Hub, cybersocialhub.com. Accounts free, sign up. Dave, Sam are both in there. You can find them in the members list, message them, or again, send to Ron's asking, well, Bin Laden's favorite hot sauce.
Sticker mule.
Oh, man. Mule sauce. That's awesome. Oh, goodness. So anyway, pop in, say hi. And if you guys find some awesome pieces of evidence in there, post them up in the hub. Not necessarily LinkedIn, but post them up on the hub and let the guys know that you found it.
Yeah.
Megan's
video probably.
Yeah.
Pretty good. What is he making? What's that going to be?
Yeah. Right. So here is I'll pop this in again. That way you guys can if you know where to join. There it is. You have it, and yeah, you can, friend. It's a social media network essentially. If you haven't been in Cyber Social Hub, and you can friend us and stuff, and like stuff, and we use it for the funny gifts and stuff. It's really what it's for. Yeah, hence for the gift.
I do have a word of warning about the Bin Laden media. There are execution videos in there.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Be wary.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. So there's your warning. If you go and download it, there's some execution videos in there. But like I'm glad you mentioned something. But I've kind of always gone by the concept: if you're going to be a forensic examiner, you better have some tough skin.
Yeah.
You're gonna see some horrific things in your data sets, which unfortunately all of us have, I'm sure, at some point. But it's just part of it. But again, Sam, Dave, thank you guys very much for taking your time out.
Yeah.
And showing us all the awesome stuff that Truxton was able to pull out of this data set, and all the cool little tidbits of information. So you guys make sure you check them out too, truxtonforensics.com. And see you guys all in the hub. You guys have anything else for us?
Thanks.
We're good.
No, good.
All right.
Thanks again.
Awesome. Hey guys, thank you. Take care.